I'm thinking he about to run a quick play. No, he spikes the ball on fourth down, not realizing
Um, it
not
was fourth
realizing.
down when he did the strike. Oh man.
And so you know, being part of a dynasty school, you know, I'm pretty much thinking he ain't had no, you know, good season. He
Mm.
ain't no good right now. Just you were the front one of the top runners to be one of the what's called the Kennedy Award, and yeah, that last seconds of your starting career is probably we probably won't see him next year.
Oh man, that's tough. That's tough. Wow. Wow. Yeah, did y'all play y'all state championships in Morgantown or
It's called they moved it back down to Charleston, West Virginia, which is like literally I can literally see the field from where I'm sitting.
oh, okay.
So it got back home. Somebody dropped the money to bring it back to where it needed to be, which was Charleston.
Got you. Okay.
Ready,
So
Germich?
good morning. Good morning, everybody. How y'all doing? How y'all feeling? This is a nice little special, views from the 22 live on the scene. We got Dion. We got Ty Neal. We got Chef Mike Pop in here. True Man False World reporting live. See, we here. So look, we got something simple. I'm gonna share a couple links. We're gonna go around the horn and see how everybody feeling. And then we got a nice little hour show planned for you guys today. Get you guys prepared for the college football playoffs. We'll touch a couple other subjects today. But anyway, Dion, man, how you doing, man? It's been a while since you've been a part of the program, brother. How you
Yeah,
doing, man?
yeah, man. But I've been watching from afar. I'm still connected to the fam. But hey, this is my love language right here. College football. I had to show up today.
Absolutely. Ty, the resident driver on the road out there.
From east to west, I'm moving.
Absolutely.
What's going on, peoples? As you know, college football, high school football, and NFL. This is what we do. We love this. We love this sport. We love this game. We love this gridiron. This is something that anytime that the playoffs come on, the championships come on, we get more than live. We bring it to you.
Absolutely. So as we share these links and things like that, fellas, it's been a year. It's been a year to say the least. We're gonna just go ahead and jump into the topic real quick. A very, very weak topic that we really don't have to spend a lot of time on. As we share the links, get everybody in and everything like that. The Heisman Trophy candidates this year. I think this is one of those years where we can honestly just say it really was not the best crop of talent. I think that the quarterback position has been watered down a lot because these coordinators are, for the most part, y'all, they're going to the NFL. And a lot of things with the college game right now is a little bit in flux because I think now we're in a new school of teachers, right? So a new school of teachers means we're going to have a transition period. So I think that's the first thing. The second thing is I think that we kind of had some down years from some of the bigger names because of new quarterbacks and new coaches and all that good stuff. We're seeing this portal and this transfer thing be a really big key. So let's start at the top. Dion, what I want you to do is I want you to introduce our finalists real quick. And then after you introduce our finalists, we're gonna have Ty go over what he thinks about them, and then I'll come and I'll close it up, and then we'll go to the next topic.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah. So our Heisman finalists. The projected winners right now. Quarterback Fernando Mendoza. From Mendoza, quarterback for Indiana. Ty, you want to jump in, or you want me to read all of them
Yeah,
first?
Go
just read
ahead.
all of them. Go ahead
Just
and
go
read
ahead.
all of them.
All right. Then we also have Diego Pavia. I don't even know if that's how you pronounce his last name, but quarterback for Vanderbilt. We have Mr. Love, Jeremiah Love, Notre Dame. Quarterback Julian Sayin from the Ohio State. And wide receiver Jeremiah Smith, a.k.a. JJ, a.k.a. Baby Goat, from the Ohio State.
So let's start. Let's start here. Ty, let's start with. I thought it was only 4. So did they just add Jeremiah in there?
They usually give you about 5 to 6, just to kind of liven it up a little bit.
Right.
Well, okay, whatever. All right. So with that being said, um, let's start with Jeremiah Smith. I think it's fair to say he's the best skill position player, arguably in college football.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a fair thing to say there. So Ty, let's talk about his year. Wasn't the year we wanted. I think part of that goes into the quarterback. But what are some of your assessments on Jeremiah Smith this year?
Jeremiah Smith to me stayed consistent. He had a solid year. It wasn't like what a lot of, I want to say, just, I can say, seasonal watchers, would be like, oh, that dude, that's him. You see how that play? Now, people that consistently watch college football, whether it's just old games or new, just period, watching and appreciates the game. Jeremiah Smith had an amazing year. His route running looked absolutely like somebody slicing up meat out there. He was literally a butcher to a lot of corners. Now, the only corner that I can say that really had like a chance against him was that corner that's from Indiana. That's the only one I've seen to be able to just stay near him enough to kind of slow him down. But like you said, Julian Sand played more into that, but we got to look at it like this. Julian Sand was nothing more than a scout team quarterback, when he was at Alabama. So he's still learning. He's still getting into the groove of everything. And he's probably one of the closest that we're going to see of pro style quarterbacks that we've seen in quite a while. But Jeremiah Smith, to me, didn't regress. He didn't fall off. The man looked like his route running went up in my book. It's just people might not be excited about the numbers, but who wouldn't want these numbers going into the NFL?
That's fair. That's fair. Dion, you want to add anything to that?
Yeah. I think the route running was the his biggest growth this year. You could thank the other guy on the other side of the field, Carnell Tate. I think he has something to do with that as well. The wide receiver room is stacked, and we are literally rotating wide receivers like some teams are rotating defensive ends. Like it's crazy what they're doing in Columbus right now with this wide receiver room. And then the biggest thing is what Tyler just talked about, the growth of Saying. We've seen him stretch and mature throughout the year as well. Yeah, the numbers don't jump off, but at the same time, sophomore, true sophomore, that who wouldn't want these numbers? You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean Jeremiah, he's the best in my opinion. I had him ranked number one in my preseason rankings for a reason, and more than likely he's gonna be number one going to next year as well. So
that's a hard guy to rank, in general, because the talent and everything is there.
mm-hmm.
It's not even really about the talent anymore for him. Really, it's going to be about who's throwing him the ball and everything he does, because he plays the least dependent position on offense on a consecutive base every week. Because I try to tell people, wide receiver success isn't about anybody other than all other 10 players or all other 9 players in this situation on the field. Because if there's no blocking, there's no way to get him the ball. Yep. If there's no quarterback that's accurate, there's no way to get him the ball. So that's the big thing there. Moving along, we'll go right down to the next skill position guy, and then we'll just do all 3 quarterbacks together, kind of, sort of. Okay. Jeremiah Love. I'm not gonna lie. I think a lot of things with Jeremiah Love are about speed. Do I think he's a bad player? No, but I don't think he's necessarily the number one ranked running back in the class potentially. He could be, but we'll see that when it's scouting season. And scouting season is right around the corner. And we're going to
Mm-hmm.
talk about that. But the biggest thing that I think is missing from running back by trade right now is ball carrier vision. Being able to see and set up your next move, the next cut, and all those different things to be able to create bigger plays. And these are things that I think that are missing because we so focused on speed. Ty, what did you
Mm-hmm.
think about the year for Mr. Love?
Every time I turned on the tape, I mean, like every time you turned on anything, Jeremiah Love was running. And I mean, running, bouncing off tackles, hitting the hole. It was never like he was going backwards. He was always going forward. He was always, like you said, it's hard to tell because they didn't play like what people would consider the strongest competition. But let's not act like that these wasn't athletes that didn't make it to Division 1 with full scholarships. Let's not act like these are just mugs that you would go down the street and say, "Oh, let's run some sandlot football and we gonna run it." Nah, these mugs would really run you all over the place. We've already seen examples of college basketball athletes absolutely depleting like your average Joes, like making them look like so. When it comes to football, it's the same thing. We're not gonna sit here and act like these guys aren't going against top tier athletes every week. Jeremiah Love never did like sit back and just give you something average. It was always very dependable, always like I want to turn the tape on when I watch this guy. I want to watch this guy. When I watch Notre Dame, I'm not looking for the quarterback. I'm not looking. I'm probably looking at the tight ends because history with Notre Dame is always tight ends. They always have good running backs. They always have some good linebacker. But this year, when I think of the offense, the only name that comes to my mind really, like if I'm just somebody jumping in and watch TV, it's only Love. I can't really say like I was watching really anybody else. It was just Love. The man does it and shows up and plays big every week.
Okay. Dion, what you
Yeah, I like Love a lot. I love Love, if I could say that. um, but yeah, a couple things like we talked about before the show. I want to see what you do against who you do it against. First two games of the year was the toughest opponents.
Yep.
Love ain't Love wasn't loving those first two games. You know what I mean? And I could you could say, okay, Miami had a stout running game when they played with the other running back. Price got off on Miami. So, what was going on with you, Love? I mean, in A&M, I think he had 90 yards rushing, but they weren't no big plays like that. You know what I mean? Um, so, and the rest of the competition is who it is, who they play after that. You know what I mean? But another thing we also do have to consider, the boy's still 20 years old. There's a lot of maturing that needs to go on, with him, and getting with the right coach at the next level will help him with that. And also, we can't just act like Notre Dame's offensive line is not Notre Dame's offensive line, man. They
Mm-hmm.
put some of the best out there. So it's just a lot of maturing that he has to go through. Still average 77 yards a carry. You know what I mean? 18 touchdowns. So the numbers are there, but it's a lot of maturing that needs to go with his game, though.
Yes, sir. I agree.
we will definitely touch this more during scout season because if you want, you can help with the rankings of course, as usual.
Of
Um,
course.
because I think we can really break down tape because I think more than anything else, I want to see and I want to assess more stuff from
Mhm.
him. But being 20 years old is going to be a gift and a curse for him, right? And I'm
Okay.
just going to say this to the scouting community so y'all understand. He'll be 21 either when the season starts or after he's drafted or whatever. Being a 21-year-old running back does give you a lot of room for multiple contracts. But that also could mean that could be a 10-year career, and he could be an early 31, 32-year-old retiree
Mm-hmm.
because of the position and what the trade of the position.
Demand.
So that's going to be a really interesting situation. I'm here for it though, because the player is definitely somebody who we can do a lot with. And again, it's going to be about fit, who he goes to and everything else like that. And we'll be talking about that later. All right, these three quarterbacks. Let's start at the top, Ty. Mendoza.
The Vandy quarterback.
Not
Indiana.
No. That's Indiana's quarterback. My bad. That's Indiana. That's Indiana's quarterback. Well, I don't think that there's really anything. Like you said, the quarterback position has really been watered down because, like you said, they're abandoning and heading to the NFL, which you can't blame them for wanting to go for opportunities. And even Tom Brady has said this: quarterback position hasn't gotten better. It really hasn't in college. It hasn't gotten better. It's the offensive coordinators are just basically taking what these quarterbacks does best and say, let's create plays that works for them. With the Indiana quarterback, when I see Indiana play, you see physicality. You see teams that just absolutely obliterate. So with this quarterback, his simple job is, and I can't really say that I've really been impressed by what he's done, but I can't take away and say that he's not consistently doing what the coach is basically requiring him to do. He's made big plays. He's made big plays with his legs. He's made big plays with his arm. But this year, Indiana could probably go blow for blow with Georgia on, when it comes to physicality. But then again, another Nick Saban coaching tree. So this isn't something new to this coach. So with Mendoza, Heisman worthy, like you said, it's watered down, but solid, yeah. That's pretty much what I can boil it down to.
Dion, what you got on Mendoza?
Mendoza, I think he's a technician. I think he does all the fundamentally things. He doesn't necessarily wow you as far as his play. But like Ty said, he's just doing what the coach is telling him to do. If I just need you to get a couple first downs, and then or check into a running play, give it to Hemby. Because they play complimentary football up there in Indiana, and like my man Manziel said, we call him a basic fade route, a Heisman moment. Because the defense is playing so good, Indiana's offense really does not have to do much. You know what I mean? Just don't turn the ball over. You know what I mean? But as far as Mendoza, I think he's going to win it tonight. But I don't want to say he's not worthy of winning a Heisman. It's just you will want your Heisman winner to really win it, or to have that moment, or have to kind of take it. Last year we had two guys who were very worthy of winning it, in Genty and Hunter. This year it's kind of like we almost just had fill in the blank. You know what I mean? So it is what it is.
Just to say this, I'm not going to say he's impressive or unimpressive. What I'll say is he's not the guy that I look at and say, I want that quarterback on my team, or I'm going to draft him with my first round selection.
Mm-hmm.
But I can say that about all of these quarterbacks. I'm gonna go to Pavia. I think that's how you pronounce his name, or whatever the case is. What's up? What's up? That's a goat. That's a young goat right there. Probably played. Probably can play defensive end better than some of your favorite defensive ends. Anyway, with that being said, I will tell you 100%. Like Vanderbilt has played good football for probably the last 5 to 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
Now we got a quarterback that played better than their normal crop of quarterbacks. So now we have a thing.
Mm-hmm.
But let's slow down, Savannah.
Okay.
Ty, I'm gonna let you go ahead. I'm gonna let you introduce Pavia a little bit to the people a little bit. What were some of your assessments this year on him?
On Pavia.
Yeah.
Pavia is who can I basically he's Jake Plummer like. He's gonna make plays with his legs. He's gonna make plays with his arms. He's basically the man that you're not gonna really want to draft him first round. You maybe want to get him in the second or third round. And he's a guy that I want to say is probably going to be a locker room presence where, like say if the starting quarterback goes down, I think he'll end up becoming a starter by accident, but he's going to be something where you just be like, every week he's making a play. It might not be something where you're gonna be like, yeah, I don't want my quarterback doing that, but he can do it. Like he's gonna put his shoulder down and try to run over somebody. He's gonna try and make a sloppy cutback and somehow make it work and end up getting the end zone or getting the first down. Or somebody misses a tackle and he runs for 40 yards and you're just like, really? Like y'all really letting this happen? He's just that type of a playmaker. It's not something that's going to be like, oh my God, he's the front runner. We need to make him the Heisman. We need to make him the NFL MVP. But it's going to be like that poor man's beard that's sitting there going, that's him. That's the man right there. He's did it again. That's what type of player I see when I see Pavia. Just something that's just fun football. Just plays the game.
Dion?
From a scouting standpoint, I can't really put a finger on him as far as where he'll be in the NFL. But from from what the level he's at now in college football, simply put, he's a gamer. He does what he needs to do as far as trying to stretch the drives out. You're talking about a guy who just a couple of weeks ago against Kentucky had 39 pass attempts, completed 33 of them for 484 yards, 5 touchdowns in the air. But previously, he had 19 attempts against Missouri in the defensive struggle, but also had more rushing attempts than he had passing attempts. So he's just a gamer. You can. I don't know if you want to say a Swiss Army knife, but he if you need him to run the ball, he's gonna run the ball. Like Ty said, he's gonna try to run through a defensive player's face mask. But if you need him to air it out, he'll air it out too. But yeah, that's all I gotta say about that.
As we get again, another player that I just want to sit back and I just want to let the tape do some talking. I want to see some things. I want to see some throws. I want to do that's going to make me stop the tape a couple times and say, "Oh, I like what he did there. Hold on, wait, let's go back to this." That's what I'm looking for more than anything else. But really don't have a big opinion on him. I think he's probably the weakest of the two quarterback, candidates. And then now we're going to the guy who replaced Will Howard last year, who was a champion, national champion, Mr. Say himself. I saved the defending champion for last because in this situation, he's playing quarterback for that team. Ty, let's talk about Mr. Say.
Jeremiah, I mean, just Julian saying he was the height that was around him when he came out of high school. It was warranted. He big arm, smart, just and never wanted to be really the center of attention, but he wanted to command the offense. You know, originally said that there was only two schools that he was going to go to. That was Ohio State and that was Alabama. He chose Alabama because of Nick Saban. That's the only reason why he went is because he loved Nick Saban. Well, when Nick Saban up and retired, The man had been on scout team offense for the whole entire season. Even Nick Saban came out a couple of weeks back, said there was a stupid, ignorant coach that kept him on the sideline for a whole year. I wonder who we're talking about. And of course, he was talking about himself. Julian Sand has done everything that Ohio State has asked him. And if you go and turn the tape on, like you said, it's not exciting, but he is the closest to a pro style that we're going to get. He's standing in the pocket, he makes throws, he takes care of the ball. He's a guy that, people have a problem with the term game manager. That's what I want my quarterback to do. I want him to manage the game and don't turn the ball over, because Ohio State has the defense that is putting up historic numbers. So I don't want my quarterback trying to win the game. If you can win the game, do it, but don't force it there if it's not. So we seen the prime example of that in the conference title up against Indiana, and neither both quarterbacks made a mistake. But if you notice, both of them quickly went back to, hey, coach, we got this. We're going to chill out. We're gonna make sure that the defense can make a play, or a wide receiver can make a play, or running back can make the play. Somebody will be able to make the play, because what Sand is doing is NFL type, like wisdom wise. He's not going to go out there and do something stupid and turn over the ball. He's going to make plays. He's developing as the year goes. One more year, I think we're going to see something really develop in him. And being behind Will Howard done something.
Go ahead, Dion. The floor is yours.
My boy's saying, man, he's a point guard. And like Todd said, that's what you want. You know what I mean? You don't have to win the game all the time, man. Just lay it out there for your receivers, man. The plays are there. Again, I'm not a huge on the whole scouting department as far as the NFL. I think more than likely this time next year we'll be talking about him in that top pick conversation. He's going to have the weapons next year. The whole office is coming back except for Carnell Tate. So, I mean, literally what we're seeing right now is what we're going to see next year, bearing injuries. I think one thing that also helped him is the emergence of Bo Jackson in that running game getting going. I think that's helped him out tremendously in his growth. My biggest hit against him is literally just his size. 6'1", barely over 200 pounds. You can see that a lot. And I think it cost him in the championship game that, he's dropping back a little bit further than he needs to be. And those edge rushers are getting a better angle on him. Indiana, their front is one of the best in the country. So they were able to, I guess, quote unquote, expose that. But as far as in between the ears, I think he's probably the smartest one we have in the game right now. And I think next year you're going to see him separate himself from the rest of the country.
I like the savvy. I think that's the right word to use for him.
Mm-hmm.
Because what I seen were some games that he turned the ball over, and early mistakes didn't turn into an avalanche. It didn't turn into a barrage of bad plays. It turned into, okay, let's just pick this up from here. Let's take it from there. And what you noticed is when quarterbacks have a short-term memory like that, it helps a lot, because now as a play caller, I don't have to worry about dialing him back, or I don't have to worry about becoming conservative. And I think, and I really want to say this too before we go on to the next topic. Any quarterback's best friend is a running game. So the way that they came on later with the running game is going to be really important now going through this stretch that they're getting ready to go through, because we may see his best ball in the next 4 weeks.
And they're going to be playing inside for the rest of the season. It'll be all dome stadiums for the rest of the playoffs.
So we may see the best is yet to come.
And see, Germ loves that. Germ loves this type of football. Once it hits December, Germ starts looking at them linemen and them running backs going, are y'all gonna go and make that money and get them contracts, baby? Because January and February football is where it's gonna be with them linemen and them running backs.
Absolutely. So to there to some a little bit more harsh news. We have the Sharon Moore situation in itself. I would just like to just assess the situation for those who may have been under a rock. Basically, was caught in an inappropriate relationship with a staff member. Okay. What I'll say is this, and then I'll pass it around, and we'll get through with this. I think that in the world we live in today, there's something called an NDA. That's all I'm gonna say. Um, y'all thought I was gonna dig into this. I'm not doing that.
I love it though. I love it. I love the way
Called
that you
an NDA, bro. I don't know what's. I'm not promoting cheating. I'm not promoting anything else. I'm just simply saying that we see certain things happen, and when these things happen, we have to be realistic about why these things happen, where these things are happening, and what goes on in the sports world in general. And high profile job, high profile coach, whether we want to say he's high profile or not, things are going to be thrown his way. Acceptance is a part of this speech, though. And if he accepts, that's on him. That's all I can say. Dion, I'm gonna let you go first, and then we'll close with Ty.
Very unfortunate situation. Um, I can't help but to look at it a certain way. I find it. I gotta put on my Dr. Umar real quick. I find it real suspicious that this news came at the time that it came. Real suspicious that this story broke or the firing happened after high schoolers had to commit to the school. I find it real suspicious. You trying to tell me I couldn't fire him a week because y'all it had to collect the data over time. Y'all knew this information. It didn't just come overnight. Y'all fired him right after these teenagers committed to this school. So you got your commits for next year, but you're gonna get rid of the coach now. I just found the timing real suspicious. That's all I'm gonna say. It's on Utah.
All right. Coach Moore. Reports had that the AD was notified that this has happened 3 times since 2023 or 2022. So that means that you knew about this. You knew that this was going on. You knew that he's done this. And as much as I hate to point it out, there's another coach that done something similar. And like Dion said, I hate to be in the Dr. Umar type ordeal. Mel Tucker messed his money up. 7 years, $95 million with a $70 million guarantee, 70 million fully guaranteed buyout. And you messed it up not only in an inappropriate relationship with a woman, it's the sexual counselor that was counseling your team. So, high profile job. These are high profile jobs. This is Division I football. There's reports, if you look back, that Michael Jordan had NDAs that he made his partners sign, and they weren't allowed to talk about it. Like we said, we're not encouraging that type of behavior. But at the end of the day, business is business. If you're going to do some type of business, you need to make it a business deal to protect yourself, because at the end of the day, you are the face of a university. People are watching you. They're waiting for you to trip up, because there might be somebody in the background going, hey, man, I don't like him. Well, why? We don't know why. But there's somebody that might be a booster that says, no, he don't need to be the face. So it might be somebody that they send. So you need to be really watchful of who's coming to you when you got you got millions on the table. You need to vet everybody. You need to keep a security around you, or you need to keep some type of agent with you at all times. So when people come up, the agent be like, hold on, who are you? And what are you doing near my coach? You need to have some type of security. And these colleges can afford it. So don't act like it can't be done. It can be done, because Nick Saban actually had security watching over his players to make sure that they wasn't out doing stupid stuff. So why can't we do it with a coach? A coach needs to protect his investment. That, hey, we ain't gonna bash him, but we're gonna say, hey, brother, you just messed it up for those that look like you for a very long time, because it was already hard enough to get as a positional coach, but now as a Division I coach, universities are going to take a step back and be like, I don't know, because they see Mel Tucker and him. That's all.
You follow it. I think that was very well placed, very well put. I agree. And the sad part is, I agree with you so much that I'm scared to even try to add to it, because I feel like they're going to say we just agree. So I don't want to say nothing else. But that's wild that y'all went the direction that I would have went without me even going there. So kudos to y'all. Y'all the goats. So new coaches and new places, because this is a new day now. We got Kiffin to LSU, and we got Franklin going to VTech. Now, I grew up on Beamer ball. I love Beamer ball. Beamer ball was good for a nice decade and some change. I also would say that I feel like LSU has regressed since that national championship. They've got some good players, yes, but I feel like the talent level on that team was really at a different level than what it is now, and how it transpired over the next year, or every year after that. So let's start here. Franklin to VTech, I don't think it moves the needle at all, really. They might be a little bit more competitive, maybe. We'll see. But Kiffin to LSU might be the right profile for them to get the talent they need to make this interesting. Deanna, I'm gonna start with you. Go ahead.
I actually like the James Franklin hire probably a little bit more than you. For a couple things, I think it puts pressure on the ACC. I think if you're someone like Dabo Swinney, you're looking like oh shish, okay. Simply because before he got to Virginia Tech, he was already dominating the DMV as far as recruiting, and we talked about it before the show. The ACC is like wide open. So a year or two with some good recruits, not to mention the transfer portal, which he's already getting some players from Penn State to commit to Virginia Tech. A year or two, we might see a Kurt Signetti type of turnaround for Virginia Tech. Now, obviously, he got to show up in those big games. I know that's been his Achilles heel. That's that got him out of there at Penn State from the beginning with the big games that he didn't win. But I look at the rest of the conference and I'm like it's wide open. As are we only staying on Lane Kiff? I mean James Franklin right now. Or are we talking about everybody? Okay. As far as Lane Kiffin, shout out to LSU. You learn from your mistake. You shouldn't have got Brian Kelly from the beginning with because he was not SEC football. He was not SEC football. You learned from your mistake. You got a man of the culture. I'm not saying Lane Kiffin won't work in LSU, but I like Lane Kiffin for LSU more than I like LSU for Lane Kiffin, if that makes sense. Because you got yourself a coach who's been in the SEC. He knows the culture. He knows the importance of winning these games, the big games and stuff like that. I for LSU. I mean, I don't know the money difference, but for me at Ole Miss, I was just like, Lane, you building something, bro. You are building something. And the recruits, they were coming there. Now that's not to say they won't show for LSU. I mean, it's still LSU, but I like Ole Miss more for Lane Kiffin, but I do love LSU. I love Lane Kiffin for LSU.
All right. Now here's the fun part. Let's start off with James Franklin. James Franklin, I love to hire. Here's the reason why I love to hire. James Franklin don't have no stress at Virginia Tech. No stress.
Mm-hmm.
He don't have no headache. He don't have somebody beaming down on him. And the reason why I love James Franklin, people talk about all the games he lost, all this, that, and the third, and blah, 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 all the different things. But let me talk about the things that man won. Remember, James Franklin was the only coach that was willing to take on that job when Joe Paterno and Jerry Sandusky crap went on. He knew he was going into a losing situation to have to go in banned from the bowl. What was it, 1 or 2 seasons? He was either 1 or 2 seasons, plus 25 scholarships stripped from there. So you're already in the hole. For him to make it and still have winning seasons all the way through, to have winning season until the last year, everybody's like, oh, he keeps losing. Yes, we understand he keeps losing, but that man had to go through a lot of pressure. He had to carry a lot, and then being a man of color to have to deal with that, your odds is already, and you're up in Pennsylvania. People can talk about what Pennsylvania, but there is a lot of, we're not going to disclose what, but we know up in Pennsylvania, it ain't it ain't all hunky dory all the time. That man was under a constant watchful eye. Any type of mistakes, if you know that man, there was never no scandals. There was never no trouble. The recruits kept coming in. NFL player after NFL player after NFL player. He's put them in the thing. Have they won any of the big games? No. Did they make it to the college playoffs? Yes. Did they win some big bowl games, some decent bowl games? Yes. Did they lose more big ones? Yes. Understandable. But when he goes to Virginia Tech, he has no stress. Players are already transferring, following him to Virginia Tech. So he's already stepping into a situation where he's going to be comfortable. Now he doesn't have to worry about, well, I got to beat Ohio State. I have to beat Oregon. I have to. Now he can go out there and just coach. He can go out there and just let his players play. Because, like you said, Frank Beamer ball, we love those DBs. We love those free safeties that Beamer was bringing. We love those linebackers, those defensive ends, because he brought defense. James Franklin is going to bring something that we're going to see is solid wins. We may not see no championships, maybe a couple of ACC, but we're going to see a lot of good football out of James Franklin. And that's what I like about this hire. It's not going to be exciting, but it's not going to be boring either. It's going to be good football, and a lot of recruits from Virginia Tech are going to be coming through there going to the NFL. And I can pretty much guarantee that one. Mm-hmm. Now we step on to the subject of Lane Kiffin. Why do I like Lane Kiffin to LSU? Because when you are a recruit, 5-star, 4-star, 3-star, 2-star, 1-star, whatever you want to call it, I don't go to LSU because of the coach. I go to LSU because of the name of the school. LSU itself is going to recruit. You don't have to do much. And now that the NIL's there, all you got to do is just say, hey, I need a little bit more money to get this recruit. They want to come here, but we need to spice it up a little bit. It ain't going to be hard to get them. And then you got Lane Kiffin, who is an offensive mastermind. All he needs to do is to get a defensive coordinator that fits for that type of ruggedness that LSU brings. Because LSU, you're always going to have a defense. The problem has been the stagnant offense. And like you said, I have never been a Brian Kelly fan, especially when he left Notre Dame. That man basically slapped the players in the face. Like if you listen to some of the players that done interviews, they hate that man.
Hated him.
They cannot stand that man. Now, Lane Kiffin's no better because when he left Tennessee, he done the same thing. Because remember, he left out, and the reporter took a picture and a video of him leaving, going to the airport at 2 o'clock in the morning. So he's known for abandoning. But I think LSU is something that he might stay for quite a bit because he has everything that he can get. The wide receivers are going to come. So you're going to get the running backs. All he needs to do is to get them quarterbacks to come there, and LSU is going to be something that you're going to be like, oh, yeah, they're about to win a national championship
Yeah.
because it's going to be there. It's going to be fast. It's going to be quick. So you better get ready because I'm telling you, Lane Kiffin is about to bring some heat to that school.
But my only thing for Lane Kiffin is the pressure is much more at LSU, much more. Like you got to produce. There ain't no 9-3 is a bad year at LSU. You know what I mean?
Remember Les Miles? How
Yeah.
many 10-win seasons did Les Miles have and still get fired? I think he had 7, something crazy, and still got fired.
And that's why I say I love Ole Miss for Lane Kiffin more than for LSU, but I think he's still going to do well. And to talk about the culture, it was a 5-star recruit who was teetering on signing with LSU. He signed the day after Brian Kelly got fired. That's so much, man. Like, but I mean, we gonna see though. I mean, because you still gotta show up for against Alabama. Still gotta show up against Georgia. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be real interesting, man. And also, I want to shout out to my man, Pat Fitzgerald. Pulled the Phillip Rivers coming out of retirement for 5 years. He's gonna take on that Michigan State head coaching job. And shout out to my man Brian Hartline too. I'm sad to see you go, baby, but we knew it was coming.
Hey, that man was a Miami Dolphin. Hey, that man was the Ohio State and the Miami Dolphin. Brian Hartline. I want to wish him nothing but success, brother.
Oh,
Go
yes,
ahead
sir.
and do it.
So now, college football playoff. I'm gonna go over the quick matchups, and then we're gonna just dive into this real quick and give us some assessments on it. So we have the field is set. Top 4 teams: Indiana is number 1, Ohio State number 2, Georgia number 3, Texas Tech number 4. All right, those are the teams with the first round bye.
Sure.
The team vying to play number 4 Texas Tech will be James Madison versus Oregon. And then the team vying to play Indiana will be Alabama versus Oklahoma. The team vying to play Georgia will be a combination of Tulane and Ole Miss. And then last but not least, the team that will play Ohio State will be either Miami or Texas A&M. I think we can pretty much set the table that way. Let's start with that. Fellas, let's finish our food. It's really easy. I feel like this is the round of BTA. Belt to ass. Because it's getting ready to be 3 potential blowouts. If Texas Tech starts fast, they're going to be like rocker pads in Miami. All up in that ass. It's going to get emotional. Dion, Todd, what are your thoughts on this? I'm going to let Ty go first this time and let you close, D.
That's fine.
James Madison University versus Oregon. Can we continue, please? Alabama, Oklahoma.
That's the closest one.
Ooh, that's gonna be DeBoer. People can say what they say, but DeBoer might be coaching for his job because if they lose twice in a row and then the start of next year and end up not doing any well, we might see him gone by the half of the season. Even though he has a huge buyout, Alabama might be like, we don't care about that buyout. We'll ask Nike for some more money. He might be gone. So this is Alabama's going to be bringing the heat. Oklahoma just has to bring the same intensity that they played with them earlier in the season. Because if they don't, Alabama going to put that foot in their tail because, like you said, they're coaching for their coach's life. They're playing for their coach's life. Then we got Tulane and Ole Miss. We can continue if the right team shows up for Ole Miss.
Mm.
But with Kiffin not being there, it could get a little gritty. It's a very possibility. Just depends on what that coach does for that staff. Miami and Texas A&M. I don't want to be that guy, but I don't see this game going to be close. It might be at first, but I think A&M will overwhelm it eventually. That's what I'm thinking. That's my sentiments for the first round.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I would be excited a little bit for James Madison in Oregon if James Madison didn't have so many distractions in this upcoming weeks. They had some off the field issues. Their coaches just got hired to play coach at UCLA. I believe he's still coaching for James Madison, Bob Chesney. But Oregon is just it's just too much, man. Like you know what I mean. And then you going to Eugene. This ain't at no neutral site. You going to Eugene? Yeah, that's tough, man. And then Ole Miss and Tulane. Tulane lost their head coach too. So it ain't just Ole Miss. Tulane lost their head coach too. So
On the Florida.
BTA. A&M in Miami. Yeah, Carson Beck is just gonna have to make plays, but it's so much turmoil with him and the head coach and the staff. I think they just ready for the season to end at this point. Um, I'm gonna look at Ruben Bain because I think this is a good test for him, that offensive line, for scouting purposes. But Oklahoma, Alabama. Let me tell you now, if you are a football fan who loves points, don't watch Netflix, bro. Don't watch HBO Max or watch something else because this is gonna be a defensive struggle, and I'm gonna love every bit of it. I'm a defensive guy. I love defense, man. This. I am not going anywhere for this game because I just love defense, man. I love hard hitting. I love good defense, man. This is the game to watch. Um, both of these defenses are going to want some get back. Um, Alabama did lose to Oklahoma in their own stadium, by the way. So they're going to want to get some get back. And then, I mean, say what you want about Todd Simpson as a NFL prospect, but as far as a collegiate quarterback, I think he is one of the best of them. I know he's going to want to rebound after that game against Georgia. So this game, I think if there's ever a time where the lower seed beats the higher seed in the first round, I think it's this game. I'm not saying I'm pulling for Alabama, but I think that's the best chance that we're going to have for the foreseeable future.
So, as we get into that part, we know the matchups now. We're going to wrap up the show with some talks about this format. Last year's format, I think that we got the result we really wanted, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
The best teams pretty much went up against each other. We got Oregon and Ohio State the second time, and that was a BTA special. That was an obliteration. So, all that being said, I think the other thing, too, that I think is so beautiful about this 12-team format is you get to kind of see a lot of these teams have to face some type of adversity, whether it be in week one or in the second week. Because I don't care what anybody says, I don't think, besides Indiana, I don't think Ohio State has played a defense as formidable as Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
And they're getting ready to go up one that's bigger and potentially faster than Indiana in Texas A&M in the next round. I think that'll be something of an adjustment for them as well. For Georgia, I mean, Ole Miss is one of those teams that could beat Georgia. because again, the name of the game is you got to score. And what do Ole Miss do well if they don't do anything else? They gonna score. Oklahoma and Alabama, to me, is apples and oranges, right? But the thing is, I don't care what anybody says, they pose bad matchups for Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Ooh.
Both of them do.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not anything this is Indiana's going to have a cakewalk. The number one seed has the toughest road to get to the big dance. If you want to be honest,
It's back-to-back years like this. Because
like so, be it.
Oregon was number one last year. They had Ohio State in the second round.
That's it. And so think about how insane this is to say that Indiana's second round is going to be potentially, let's just say it's Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, it could be Oregon.
Yeah.
Which could be very, very exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Dan Lanning.
Still have to say, James Madison, just do me a favor. Bring your sleeping bags and stuff, because y'all gonna be in and out at a hotel. Just go ahead and just bring y'all sleeping bags. Y'all get ready. It'll be over quick. Just keep your eyes open. But more than anything, I would like to say before I pass it off to somebody, I just want you guys to give your thoughts on how you feel like the 12-team format feels for you. But then we'll come back to another question, then we'll close it out. How does the 12-team format feel for you, Dion?
Don't add nothing else. Leave it alone, y'all. Leave it alone. Because the people who are complaining are people who don't even watch the sport anyway. People complaining.
Say that again.
Don't even watch the sport. And for me, if we're going to be consistent here, now I'm well aware the college football playoffs is something separate from NCAA. But if you look at all the other sports, March Madness, teams are left out.
All the time.
All the time. Matter of fact, one of the qualifiers for March Madness is you got to get to the championship, your conference championship. If you win your conference championship, you're an automatic bid. Baseball, same thing. NCAA tournament. Hockey, like any sport, any other sport, is like you have to win your championship. So for me, I love the fact that the committee didn't penalize Alabama for losing that championship. I think the only thing that we're going to have to wrestle with is, are we going to do 5 champions automatic bids, or that's the only thing that I think they have to play around with, because not every Group 5 champion is going to be as good as the rest of the team, other teams. So that's the only thing that I think they're going to have to figure out. Again, Duke messed up everything, man. If you want to be honest, Duke really messed up everything, because they were banking on ACC champion, to be solid. And I think they wanted to squeeze either Notre Dame or I can't forget who's right after Notre Dame. I don't know if it was Vandy or Texas.
Vandy.
So I think they were banking on trying to squeeze those guys in to fill out the rest of the field, but Duke messed everything up. But as far as 12 teams, leave it alone. Like we don't need nothing else. I don't need to see a 16th seed that got 3 losses and they looked mid all year. I'm good. Leave it alone.
Todd?
I love the chaos of the 12-team playoff. I was shocked that Notre Dame didn't get in, but that's the business of you not having a conference. But at the same time, I understand why they don't want to be in a conference, because Notre Dame is money. They're like Ohio State. They don't need anybody else, to be honest. They don't. They got money. They got the clarity. Last year we seen Notre Dame make it all the way to the national title, and when they did, remember how that money is divvied up between all the conferences? When your school wins, they divvy up that so much money they give for each win that you make it to. Well, guess what? Notre Dame got all of that money. It went straight to their bank, so they didn't have to pay out nobody. But at the same time, this year it kind of came back to bite you, because you started off slow. Even though that they only lost by 4 points combined
Mhm.
by the 2 losses of Miami and Texas A&M. They only lost by 4 points combined. So people didn't look at that, but Alabama got in. But they're always going to try to find a way to get Alabama in, regardless. As long as Alabama has some decent quality wins, they're going to always try to figure out a way to get them in. That's just how they're going to do. We got Nick Saban to thank for that. Thank you, Nick, for that. Okay, now we gotta suffer and deal with that. Now, are we still gonna get great football? Absolutely, because you know why? It's chaotic. Like you said, everybody's stepping in, going, "Well, that ain't fair. Well, this ain't fair. Well, that. Well, guess what? Guess what? The committee sitting back doing? They're going,
Mhm.
that's all they doing because the chaos brings all that press. And I guarantee you, we're going to see historic numbers once again. Once all the games come on, we're going to see those networks going, well, look at our ratings. Our ratings was through the roof. Everything was. I guarantee you, we're going to see some astronomical numbers that we're going to be like, this is what it's about at the end of the day. Who can bring the dineros and what chaos we can have fun with.
Mhm.
So I want to piggyback one thing and then expand on one other thing, and then we go get ready to get out of here. Let me just piggyback this. We don't need no more teams. We don't need no more teams. No more.
Leave it alone.
No mas. No mas. You're doing enough because you've made it into a tournament style,
Mhm.
which gives us the opportunity for a team to do what? To go on a run. The best team does not always win the conference.
Mm.
Say that one more time. The
Mhm.
best team does not always win the conference. So if we see Ohio State not win and they don't have this great conference schedule and all this, you still got to put them in one of them other 8 spots
Mm-hmm.
now.
Yep.
But now we're getting to the point now where some of the excuses are limited now. We are eliminating the excuse because everybody knows when they need to take care of business now. It's not any secret, okay? So that's what I would like to expand on is how we pick these teams. I know I might say, this team is good, this team is bad, or whatever, whatnot. But let me just make sure I'm clear when I say this and crystal clear at that. Tulane and James Madison don't deserve to be on the field with any of these Titans. And that's real.
Mhm.
So you are
Agreed.
giving these schools PTSD by putting them against these. I mean, what do you say? The biggest, the largest.
The baddest.
It's not anything good that's coming out of this, and we got to remember that you getting this BTA is not where you want to be because it's somebody that's around that's going to be doing what, being better than you consistently because they just get better talent than you.
Mm-hmm.
It,
So
Can I chime
go
in real
ahead.
quick? I was about to say, this ain't the sport for a Cinderella story. It
No.
ain't. It ain't. I remember a show we did. I think it was last year where Jerem has said the beautiful thing about college football is that you got future NFL stars going against computer science guys. You know what I mean? Like there's some guys that we seen a post went viral this week where offensive lineman he had his last game. I forgot what school it was, what college. And he made a little joke talking about how he's hitting the transfer portal. He's going from the football field to being an engineer. This is what we
Mm-hmm.
got. Like you know what I mean? Like James Madison, congrats on your season, but you got a bunch of doctors going against future NFL stars trying to compete for a national championship. This ain't a Cinderella story. Like it's not the sport for
Hey, listen, that right there is why I don't get it because your doctor or your potential new veterinarian that you're gonna have in 5 years should not be sitting here trying to figure out how he gonna beat Penn State next week.
it.
Todd, go ahead, get in there.
I mean, I get it. I get it. They should not be in there. But what it is, it's an automatic wake up call because you're gonna get in there. Okay, there's a school here called Morgantown High School in Morgantown, West Virginia. When they won the state championship, there was a guy by the name of Spencer Farley on their squad. He was like, I think he was like 5'10, like 185 pounds, something like that. Okay, this mug had 51 touchdowns in that season. So he ended up getting a full scholarly to go to, I think it was one of the schools in Ohio, either Dayton or Miami of Ohio. It was one of the two. He got up there, and I remember we seen him like 6 months later, and we're like, bro, what you doing back in West Virginia? And he said, y'all, I went to practice. He said, and one of the running backs that alternate, he said they were doing, contact practice. Said he went around the field. He said he hit that corner and thought he was gone. He said a linebacker. He said not a linebacker, but a free safety. That's probably about 6 footy, about 217 hitting. He mind you, this is a 220-pound running back that he hit. He said he hit him so hard. He said I thought I was witnessing a car wreck. He said I turned around, looked at my coach. He said, yeah, you know what? He said, I'm turning in my equipment. I'm done. He said, what you talking about? He said, I don't need this. He said, I got a life to live. He said, I want to grow to be old. He said, we wasn't hitting like this in high school. He said, you had 50. He said, coach, this ain't for me. And I'm being there. He thought I was joking. He said, I turned in my stuff at the locker room and worked hard and and now I'm doing my degree here back home in West Virginia. Because he said, this ain't for me. And that's kind of what James Madison is about to find out. You're gonna step on that field and realize there's some bugs that look at this as their livelihood. And this ain't, they don't care about no degree. They just go on to school and doing enough to maintain their grades so they can stay on the field to kill somebody. Because that's basically their outing.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts from you guys?
Oh man, I think this is going to be this playoffs is going to be who can run the ball and who can get off the field on third down defense.
Okay.
Final thoughts? I'm ready for college playoffs. This is going to be exciting. This is going to be great. Shout out to 9-4 Feet of Life. Always the basketball hoop heads. They always support us. We support them. They are our brothers in arms. Shout out to Miss Tanya. We understand that you couldn't be here, but let you know that your brothers love you and we appreciate you and we hope that everything's going well for you. To everybody else, we thank you for everything. And your boy Ty, we love y'all.
Absolutely. And with that being said, final thoughts for today is leave the teams where they are. Stop messing with everything. Give it some time. And please, 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 please stop overreacting at home, ladies and gentlemen, to your team playing slaw one week and playing better the next. Football is a game where the weather is a factor, and so is just anything can be a factor in the sport of football. Please make sure that you understand that and act accordingly. Bundle up because it's going to be cold in some places in general. But besides that, views from the 22 live on the scene. We got Dion, Ty, and Germ. We out, y'all.